Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
It's Saturday, the 21st of September. I'm Ciara Evans, and this was a week that saw pager attacks in Lebanon injure thousands, Starmer under pressure for receiving gifts, a second assassination attempt on Donald Trump, and British success at the Emmys.
Grab a cup of something hot, put up your feet, and get up to speed on the 7 biggest stories of the week. This is the Standout 7 from the Smart 7.
It's news,
but not the news.
This week saw dramatic developments in the Middle East as what appeared to be an Israeli intelligence-led operation involving pagers and walkie-talkies exploding, leading to the deaths of over 30 people and injuring thousands more. On Tuesday, pagers used by Hezbollah members exploded, causing injuries to the face, hands and abdominals of those holding them. 9 people were killed and hundreds injured. Earlier on Tuesday, Israel had announced their intention to broaden the war against Hamas to include Hezbollah over their attacks on the border with Lebanon. It appears that explosives were inserted into the pagers which Hezbollah were using due to concerns over the security of their mobile phones and then triggered remotely. Naomi Bar-Yaakov is from Chatham House think tank, and she said that it could be a sign of serious trouble ahead.
The nature and scope of this attack is unprecedented. It sends a very strong message to Hezbollah that Israel is not seeking any quiet. It's not seeking to de-escalate, and I think that unfortunately we're heading towards a regional escalation.
On Wednesday there was a second wave of explosions across Lebanon as walkie-talkies and electronic devices appeared to be remotely detonated in the same way that pagers were targeted on Tuesday. The larger explosion saw 20 people killed and more than 450 seriously injured, as once again it appeared Israel was targeting Hezbollah operatives and their communication networks. The first wave of attacks stunned military experts and caused outcry, including from the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who called the explosions deeply alarming. Israel hasn't claimed responsibility for the attacks, but US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, speaking in Cairo, was keen to emphasise that the US was not part of the plan.
The United States did not know about, nor was it involved in these incidents. We've been very clear about the importance of avoiding any steps that could further escalate the conflict that we're trying to resolve.
On Thursday, the Israeli Air Force carried out dozens of strikes on southern Lebanon, targeting what they described as Hezbollah rocket launchers and infrastructure. Israel still hasn't claimed responsibility for the targeted attacks, but government spokesperson David Mencer said that Israel stands ready for any eventuality.
Israel is prepared for both defence and attack. Prime Minister speaks with residents of the north. The government sees their distress. We hear their anguish. No other country would put up with this sort of reality.
The US still hopes that a ceasefire can be reached and that the British Foreign Secretary David Lammy also called for a ceasefire on Thursday evening. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah says the targeted attacks, which were intended to cause division, have failed and that Israel will face a just punishment.
The enemy has actually crossed over all the red lines. It has not paid attention to anything, not ethically, no humanitarian, nor legal or lawful.
This week hasn't been great for Prime Minister Keir Starmer as he came under pressure over receiving gifts from wealthy donors, including hospitality at his beloved Arsenal and dresses for his wife Victoria. Starmer says all of the gifts have been declared and that the hospitality he's been offered at his beloved Arsenal was only accepted because he can sit in the stands without creating a security drama. However, the drama got to a level where he felt he had to speak out and calm down the stories about internal strife.
I'm completely in control and focused, and every day the message from me to the team is exactly the same, which is we have to deliver. We were elected on a big mandate to deliver change. I'm determined that we're going to do that. And actually, I would say in 11 weeks, we've delivered more than last government did in 11 years.
But It didn't end there. On Thursday, we got a new revelation that Sue Gray is paid more than the PM. The news that Sue Gray is paid $3,000 per year more than the PM seems to have sparked upset from junior colleagues, but she is a career civil servant at the top of her profession. Jonathan Reynolds, the Secretary of State for Business and Trade, says the pay scales are nothing to do with politics.
It's wrong to say there's any kind of political input in there or people set their own pay bands, but
do you think that's odd?
I think there are and always have been officials that are paid more than politicians in our system, and that hasn't changed.
After more deaths of migrants in Channel waters last weekend, how to solve what the government is now calling irregular migration was high on the new government's to-do list this week. On Monday, Prime Minister Keir Starmer was in Italy to meet Italian PM Giorgia Meloni to discuss immigration. Starmer travelled with newly appointed Border Security Commander Martin Hewitt, and they were particularly interested in how Italy is planning to use Albania to process migrants who are apprehended in Italian waters. The potential Albanian deal has a significant difference, though, from the Tories' failed Rwanda processing scheme. They will permit successful applications processed in Albania to then travel to Italy. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper says it's a priority for the UK to find better ways to deal with what the government is now calling irregular migration.
We think there are other ways to develop a new fast-track system. It's something we've always been interested in, to make sure that those who have come from predominantly safe countries can have their cases very swiftly decided and then also be swiftly returned as well.
Meanwhile, the Liberal Democrats kicked off their autumn conference in Brighton this weekend, their first since delivering the best result in history at July's general election, winning 72 seats and reclaiming their spot as Britain's third party. As is the way with the Lib Dems these days, they had fun along the way with jet skis and Ed Davey doing a BBC interview on a roller coaster. The conference had a serious side too, with Deputy Leader Daisy Cooper opening up about her diagnosis of Crohn's disease and how close she came to death. She says that's one of the motivations for wanting to turn around the NHS and get it back on track. Leader Sir Ed Davey was also focused on electoral reform, campaigning for a change from the existing first past the post to what they describe as a fairer system such as proportional representation.
We remain completely committed to getting rid of this appalling electoral system we have in our country. Just because we've had the best success we've ever had under it doesn't mean we're in favour of it. Our great party has been in favour of proportional representation for over 100 years. And we ain't going to change our minds now.
This week also saw Foreign Secretary David Lammy make his first major policy speech. He laid out a new approach to foreign policy, which is in part driven by climate change and compromised 3 new initiatives. He wants to create a clean power alliance to help accelerate poorer countries' use of renewables, to overhaul international financial rules to reduce carbon footprints, and to lead the world in protecting biodiversity. It's a challenging agenda and may require investment that's hard to find when there's a hole in the public finances, but he sounded determined to deliver.
While I am Foreign Secretary, action on the climate and nature crisis will be central to all that the Foreign Office does.
On Wednesday, Scotland marked 10 years since the nation voted no in the independence referendum. The result says that 55% of Scots voted against the proposal, but the SNP have never given up on the idea of achieving proper independence for Scotland. Despite various attempts, there hasn't been a further vote, but new First Minister John Swinney still wants to try again, despite making it part of the SNP manifesto and losing a significant number of seats in the process.
People want honesty and clarity in politics. They want people to set out what they believe in. And I believe in Scottish independence. I've believed in it all my adult life.
Last weekend saw a second alleged assassination attempt on former President and current Republican Party nominee Donald Trump. 58-year-old Ryan Roth, who was caught after lying in ambush for over 12 hours with a rifle at Trump's West Palm Beach golf course in Florida on Sunday night. Roth is known to authorities and at one point travelled to Ukraine to fight against Russia and also has a long criminal record. On Monday, Trump made comments on Fox News that blamed President Biden and Vice President Harris for the shooting, calling them the enemy within. Serious questions have been asked about how a second assassination attempt was possible, but former US Secret Service agent Paul Eckloff says that the fact that Roth was caught is a good sign.
In this case, an agent out ahead of Trump, as is designed, recognized the threat, flushed it out,
and caused the assassin to flee before the former president was in that location. So the Secret Service actually, in this case, operated exactly according to plan.
Thursday saw more good polling numbers for Kamala Harris and more bizarre behaviour from Republicans as the clock ticks down to November's US presidential election. The latest polling shows Kamala holding a solid lead in Pennsylvania, which could be a critical state in terms of the Electoral College, while she also has a pretty solid 3-point lead in the overall national polls. Meanwhile, North Carolina Republican governor candidate Mark Robinson is in hot water after a CNN report suggested he was caught referring to himself as a black Nazi on a porn site. In Timely Commons, former Secretary of State and presidential candidate Hillary Clinton says the choice is pretty clear.
This is a contest between freedom and oppression, between bringing people together and further dividing us. And that's what has to be communicated every single day between now and the election.
Still to come on the Standout 7, good news as strikes end and the Brits win big at the Emmys.
Right after this.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Welcome back.
Just when you get something sorted, something else comes along to take its place. That's what the new government must have been thinking when they finally officially resolved the junior doctor strike on Tuesday. It had been going on for 18 months, but new Health Secretary Wes Streeting reached an agreement with the British Medical Association that was approved by 66% of members. It will mean a 22% pay rise, which is still short of the 35% the doctors had been seeking. Dr. Vivek Trivedi of the BMA warned that peace may not last long.
We will expect pay uplifts each and every year, and if those pay uplifts don't occur in a timely fashion, then that's when we'll be going to the government. And if those communications break down, then we will be thinking about going back into dispute if we need to.
On Wednesday, the new government continued its mission to tidy up the mess left by the Tories as it wrapped up another one of the long-running industrial disputes that have slowed economic growth. This time, it was the train drivers, with 97% of the ASLEF union members voting to accept the offer of an almost 15% pay rise over the next 3 years. Mick Whelan from ASLEF was sounding delighted that he could finally pack up his placard.
We're grateful to the Labour Party being grown-ups in the union room and coming and talk to us about a realistic solution. We look forward now that delivering a railway under nationalisation for the taxpayer, the travelling public, and a brighter, greener future for all people.
But after a week of government reaching pay deals with various striking unions, we got a new strike threat on Thursday. This time it was the turn of the National Pharmacy Association, who said for the first time ever they're going to ballot their members over strike action. It's in protest against what they say is a severe funding shortage that is putting their industry at risk. If the vote passes, there could be work to rule that would see reduced services across England and Wales. Nick Kay, the chair of the MPA, said that they feel they have no choice.
This is one of the hardest things I've had to ask people to do. The clue's in the title, community pharmacy. It cares for its communities. This is unprecedented and done with a lot of sorrow.
The Tory leadership contest is still slowly grinding on, with 4 candidates still in the running. Kemi Badenoch, Tom Tugendhat and James Cleverly and Robert Jenrick are all due to make their case to the Tory conference in Birmingham at the end of September. With Keir Starmer and the new Labour government making concerted efforts to build new relationships with our European neighbours, the question of Brexit is looming over the contest. There was a surprise intervention on Brexit from a senior Tory, the former Prime Minister John Major. He sat down for an interview with the BBC's Amal Rajan and was strongly critical of the whole idea, describing it as damaging to both the Tory party and the UK itself.
Brexit was sold to the nation on the basis of things that hadn't happened and couldn't have happened. There was a great degree of misapplication of reality, if I can put it in that delicate way.
Monday morning, our time saw the Emmys deliver truckloads of awards to the great and good in the world of TV. While Shogun and The Bear picked up their fair share of awards, there was plenty of British success too. Baby Reindeer, Richard Gadd's story of an obsessive stalker in the world of comedy, landed 4 in the night, including a writing and acting award for him and for co-star Jessica Gunning. As a standalone series, there's a huge achievement, and despite the pending lawsuit from the woman who claims the story is based on her, Richard had some heartfelt words as he picked up one of the biggest awards in TV.
I don't know much about this life, I don't know why we're here, none of that, but I do know that nothing lasts forever, and no matter how bad it gets, it always gets better. Yeah, so if you're struggling, keep going, and I promise you things will be okay. Thank you so much for this award.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.
To make switching to the new Boost Mobile risk-free, we're offering a 30-day money-back guarantee.
So why wouldn't you switch from Verizon or T-Mobile?
Because you have nothing to lose. Boost Mobile is offering a 30-day money-back guarantee.
No, I asked why wouldn't you switch from Verizon or T-Mobile?
Oh.
Wouldn't.
Because you love wasting money as a way to punish yourself because your mother never showed you enough love as a child?
Whoa. Easy there.
Yeah.
Applies to online activations. Requires port in and auto pay. Customers activating in stores may be charged non-refundable activation fees.